they're the PMs, so the
Okay,
plans,
with
the
that
tower
one.
plans.
Okay, yeah,
It's just, it's all it's on there, it's just the plans.
perfect.
Alrighty. Well, good evening, everybody, again. We're already on the air, so first I'm going to ask you if you'll please make sure that you turn your phones off or put them on vibrate, please. Thank you very much. I am opening the meeting of the Bristol Township Planning Commission. I'm going to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to ask you to remain standing. Please keep in mind, our troops are in harm's way. Our prisoners of war are killed in action, are missing in action, for the children who have been separated from their parents, those who are suffering from the war in Ukraine, and any personal intentions you may have. Thank you very much. And Commissioners, on our agenda, we have, before we get into our agenda, we have the consideration of the October 19th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting minutes. Commissioners, you have copies of those minutes. You've had an opportunity to review them. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the minutes?
There's been a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? First item on our agenda is conditional use. It's for Fonts, I hope I said this properly, Psy LLC, 76 Craft Lane, Levittown, requesting conditional use approval in order to create three apartment units within an existing two-story mixed-use structure on the property located at 2000 Bath Road, Bristol Township, tax parcel number 5-29-88 in an R-1 residential zone district of Bristol Township. We have a representative for that organization. Okay. Having no one here to represent this client, I would entertain a motion to table this particular application.
I'll make that motion.
Until our next meeting.
I'll make the motion to table this.
Seconded. Aye.
Second item on our agenda is Joshua P. Tavares, 38 Great Oak Road, Levittown, tax parcel number 5-37-371, requesting conditional use approval in order to rent a single-family home and apartment to two families at the above noted location in an R-3 residential zone district of Bristol Township. We have it, yes, sir. Please come up to the podium, yes, sir.
Just make sure the green light's on.
Turn on, make sure you have the green light. Identify yourself, sir, for the record.
Joshua Tavares.
Good evening, Joshua, how are you?
I'm well.
Okay, you're on.
Okay.
I have a PowerPoint presentation.
I don't have a PowerPoint presentation. I talked to the engineers, and they said to come here and get a feeling for this. And I made 16 copies of the presentations. I was hoping that everybody would have one, and anybody that didn't, I could make more copies of. Okay.
Okay, you can proceed with your presentation.
I apologize for not having a PowerPoint presentation, if anything. But yes, I have a single-family household that I purchased while I was away. I'm grateful that you mentioned the troops. I actually purchased the house while I was away on duty, and I did it through a real estate agent. And the conception, to my knowledge, was it had 2 meters on it, and it was already approved in that type of status. And that's how I purchased the property. So that when I came back to the States, I was living in one area of that property, and I had a person living in the other end. There was some confusion on the rental license. I thought my real estate agent was handling that for me. That was never accomplished. And then I thought everything was fine until the township responded to me saying, hey, you're renting, we have to do a check. And at that point, I already have, I moved on from that property, and I found another lovely single mother who has a child. She moved into my location, and they came, the township came, they were doing a check. When they came to the second part of the property where the kitchen was, she said, hey, we don't have this categorized like this, so you have to proceed in this type of manner. So that's where I am today.
Well, thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that, and I can see where the confusion certainly could be.
Yeah.
And if I'm not being too personal, you were in the military?
Yeah, I'm still there. Yes, sir.
And what grade you served?
Army, sir.
Well, welcome back to coming back.
Thank you very much.
And yes, I'm glad that you took the time to come in front of us, listening to what the township has recommended. And it's a shame that the things have gone the way they are, and misconceptions are the way they are.
Yes, sir.
One thing that this commission is pretty adamant about
Mhm.
is taking single properties and making rentals out of them.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, years ago, there's been an abundance of things like that. And actually, like you said, you thought things were done the right way and everything. Because years ago, things were done kind of like, I can't understand how.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're on top of all these kind of things, we pretty much, for our residents' sake, try to keep our single-family homes. It's a betterment for the township, because when people are moving in,
Mhm.
they're looking for exactly that. When you start having all these rentals with a couple properties, all of a sudden it booms, and it gets out of hand, and then it doesn't justify what it is that we're trying to accomplish.
I understand that.
So I do appreciate you doing the presentation. And I have no idea how they even registered the 2 meters and the where and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I wanted to go in, if I can speak on it. Yeah, so that was my misconception too. Because when I came in, I even made sure I had an electrician. I had him come in there for a week, made sure that everything was separated, and then the total family there, it's one mom with 2 children, and then 2 boys, and then another mom with a single boy. So they have a total of 1 car each. It's a 2-car parking lot. I'm not sure if you have the diagram, sir, but there is absolutely, they each have their own mailbox. They have, it's a very quaint, perfect place for them. I try to keep it affordable for families in that kind of lifestyle. And I have expressed that I am coming here and I'm talking to the township, and I guess with the economy as it is very expensive, it is very hard, even as they're looking, to find anything in the price range that I am charging them. So they're happy where they are. They are in the community. Their children are in sports. They both work within the township. So I'm just trying to provide a nice place where they can have a safe place for them and their children. So I'm kind of hoping that that's something that I can resolve, and I totally understand what you're saying, that the township has an expectation of how they want to go and keep a single-family house to a single family, and I absolutely understand that. I think I would ask if the township possibly could have like a waiverance or something for this particular set of two families, these two single moms. The only difference is for them is that they're just not related, because they are getting along. They have plenty of yard space. They have plenty of storage space, and they don't have an excess of cars. Their children are very young, and it's not that I see them staying here for the rest of their life, but it is something that is definitely affording them the ability to live a safe place and accumulate some funds to see where they're gonna try to go to next.
Excuse me, could I just throw a couple things out? Do you mind? Do you know approximately when the house was built?
The zip code is 19055, so I'm thinking it's either built in between 1954 and 56, somewhere around there. I think that's kind of how I heard it was made, and I can look at it, but I think it's 1954 is exactly when it was
Does any of
built.
the neighbors have any kind of history on the property that you've been able to acquire as far as knowledge of it being in a two-unit configuration? Did it look like it was a single house that
Oh, no, it doesn't.
was or it looks like it was constructed as
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. There.
type dwelling?
Yes, and
Did you hand out stuff?
I did, and you can have mine, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, when I was overseas when I purchased property, I had of all the pictures. If you were to look online and probably look at the past listing, I think they even noted it as such as the property was being sold in that way.
Yeah, this
So
is
that's-
becoming more and more of a common occurrence, you know, with the mortgage companies and all. People are selling homes saying that they're two units, but not confirming with the township that that status is as such, and then mortgage companies are lending funds out as if it were two units, and then when a township disagrees with that, then it creates financial challenges then for the owner at the present time. But the reason why I was asking these questions is if there's a way that you can substantiate the age of the structure and that the dual home configuration was there prior to when zoning prevented two homes from being there, you can make an argument of existing nonconformity. And if that isn't deemed to be accurate by the zoning officer, you could always pursue zoning relief from the zoning hearing board. I want to this is a conditional use, so it's a little unique, but I think you could still appeal a zoning decision if you believe you have grounds for an existing nonconformity. So I don't know if you've had those discussions with building and planning.
A lot of this probably is on me. It's a little confusing on how to navigate through this process. When I paid $1,000, $250 for escrow, and then $750 for it says it actually on the thing there. An engineer company looked at it, and outside of the township, they're the only ones that I spoke to, and they said, you know what, why don't you come here?
That was
get a
probably our
feeling.
firm. We're the consulting engineering firm you spoke with Samantha.
Maybe I did. I talked to you. You were super nice. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and she was.
She gets that a lot.
Yeah.
Good.
I want to applaud you for having consideration for two young families. You know, that's admirable of you. And that being said, And understanding how your presentation was, and I could see where the confusion really could have kind of sidelined you a little bit to say, okay, am I doing the right thing or am I not doing the right thing? What do I do next? Rather than this commission take any position at this point, I would recommend that we table this particular application and kind of pursue what he was just saying that you should do to see if there's any way that this is something that can be done that will not go against the conditional use, or at least let you know where you stand. And then, depending on how that comes out, come back in front of this commission again.
Yes, sir.
You would
Okay.
just need the time to be able to do that.
Yes, sir.
You would have to, we'd have to ask you to approve whatever time that's gonna be necessary. But if you're willing to take that, recommendation, we would certainly, kind of, table this particular application until you do that.
I would appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just, to summarize what Mr. Greer just said, you would want to reach out to Township's Department of Building Planning
Department of Building
Directors, Bob McTagg, really accessible guy, really great guy. Ask him if you can waive the time requirements, get a time extension, and meet with him to discuss this matter further and to see if there's that opportunity to have it determined to be an existing nonconformity.
Thank you. And just before I step away, you just put a wealth of knowledge out there. If there is any way that I may forget one or two things, is there somebody I can call possibly to?
I call Sam.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Bob will help you out. You go
All
to
right.
Bob McTagg. We're too expensive. Go to Bob McTagg.
Thank you.
And work with him.
All
But,
right.
certainly you can engage land use attorneys on your own, folks like that, but, start with this.
Okay.
Because
And,
we're certainly not looking to displace two single families, or at least one of the two.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we do have a job to do, and we're
No, I
trying to keep
understand.
things as standard as possible. Although we certainly take things into consideration, and that's why you're being offered this suggestion. And that being said, I would entertain a motion that we table this particular application until the applicant has an opportunity to research further.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to table the conditional use of the 38 Great Oak Road property for another meeting.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
You have a second.
It's been moved and second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen, and good luck, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And by the way, Merry Christmas, Happy
Yes,
Holidays.
Merry Christmas.
In this day and age, I offer it all.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, have a good night, sir. Okay, moving right along. Next is a subdivision. New Horizon Property Management LLC, 1909 Veterans Highway, Bristol, requesting preliminary and final subdivision approval for the property located at 914 Bellevue Avenue, Croydon, tax parcel number 5-54-144, in an R-3 residential zone district of Bristol Township. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Larry Byrne. I'm a civil engineer, prepared the plan, and with me is Dominic Gilberti, one of the principals with New Horizon Property.
Good evening,
Management.
gentlemen. How are you? Good.
You want to click on that second one, maybe, Sam? This is currently a 36,000 square foot lot where we're going to do a major subdivision, which would be to subdivide the existing lot into 3 lots. There's an existing dwelling on lot number 1, which is the bigger one to the top. Also, as part of this application, there's an adjacent property that the owners are going to give 750 square feet of land to, it's like a parcel, to the adjacent property, basically to eliminate an existing encroachment. Their hot tub was on
I'm
their
very
property.
familiar with all of that because I belong to that VFW.
Oh, you're across the street
I know
there.
exactly
Sorry.
what's going on there, and by the way, that was very admirable to do that. She was so concerned about, what am I going to do? And I told her what she was going to have to do in order to make this, and it was right up your alley, so thank you, gentlemen, that was
All right,
nice.
well, then, I guess obviously you're very familiar with the property.
I am.
You got the existing house that's going to be retained, or, rehabbing it, now to make it into like a.
Yeah, they made the first one look nice, it looks good.
The rehab, I think it's almost complete, is it?
It's like 98%.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, the existing house is basically like a complete rehab. So what we have before us this evening then is just the, subdivision for the two other lots. And there's a list of waivers. I don't know if you have the latest letter. I'll give you a copy, it's December 20th. I don't know if you got
I
this.
think we just got them tonight,
Oh, you did?
I think. I think they were sitting on our table.
Okay. December. Yeah, well, there's two letters. There was,
Yeah, I got one. Yeah, they're both on the 12th.
this actually
That's a
just
new
had
one.
one
Okay.
additional waiver on it.
Well, thank you.
So this was December 20th.
He said there's an additional waiver on there.
He was pertaining to, being that this is a dead-end street, and,
If you would go back to the podium, sir, please. Thank you very much. Only because our viewing audience can't hear what you're saying.
is this on? I guess it's on, right?
If it's green, it's on.
No, it's red. Now it's green.
There you go.
Okay. Shut it off? Oh, okay. All right, so, we do have a list of waivers that we would be requesting. But in addition to that, we have the Township Engineers Review Letter dated November 29th, which is quite lengthy.
So what I'm going to ask you to do, Larry, is as long as you are specifying that that letter is a will comply,
Correct.
with the exception of the waiver list, and then I'm going to ask you to go through the waiver list,
Okay,
section by section, so we can put it in the record.
okay. All right, well, you do have the response letter that's dated December 12th that I prepared. It's addressed to Kurt Schroeder, the township engineer. Basically, I went through the Gilmore letter, and everything will comply, or we'll address it. Do you need copies of this? Do you have it?
I don't think we need that.
You got it? Okay.
We're good.
All right, so basically, everything that's in the Gilmore letter is a will comply, and we will work out in detail with the township engineer to make sure everything is satisfactorily addressed.
Well, now I think this is where I have to stop you, because when you say basically, it's
Oh,
a
it will be.
comply, I just want to, is it a will comply or not?
It's a will comply.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's a will comply to address the comments in the Gilmore Associates
Okay, so
letter.
we can go right through our waiver letter then,
Okay,
the waiver list.
okay. Excuse me. All right, I have a total, there's 9, waivers
Right.
on the letter. Sam, you had went through this, I guess you somewhat agree with my list of waivers here? Or,
Well, it's not a question whether she agrees with your list of waivers or not.
well,
You're going to read those waivers to us.
right, okay.
Thank you.
All right, well, the first waiver is section 177-14- or point E, to permit a simultaneous preliminary plan/final plan approval, so we can handle this all in one shot. The next section, 177-35, the street standards, to not require widening curbs or sidewalk along the property frontage of Bellevue Avenue. Since it's a dead-end street, that's, we were proposing to do extension of a driveway, but there's some discussion with the township on actual amount of improvements that will ultimately be required.
Well, being you stopped right there, then we're going to ask you, because you're addressing that. Are you having conversations with the township on how that, is that going to be a paper street when you open it up? Is it going to be the township street?
I
Is it going to
don't
be?
know.
So you're having conversations about that?
We-
All right, then we'll just continue, and
Right.
then that's something we'll discuss at the end.
Right, that was, it was discussed, but I don't think that there was a resolution.
Okay,
This kind of goes along with the next one, section 177.43.A, which is the sidewalks, and then the same at 177.45A, the curbs.
okay, so when you're.
That all
when-
goes
when-
to,
So, bear with me.
no, it's fine.
All right, when you read that section and say sidewalks, if you don't mind reading what that section says. Again,
Sidewalks.
because our viewing audience is listening to what's going on.
Okay.
And somebody may be coming in front of us and want to know, oh, you don't have to say sidewalks. No, it don't work that way.
Okay, well, it said to not require to install sidewalks along the property frontage of Bellevue Avenue.
Thank you.
And then the same with the curbs, to not be required to install
Can
curb
I have that
along the
number,
property.
please?
177.45.A.
Thank you.
It's to not be required to install curbs along the property frontage of Bellevue Avenue. The next waiver 5 is section 177-91.A1 and 177-92.A1, which is drafting standards, to permit the plan to be drawn at a scale of 1 inch equals 20 feet instead of 1 inch equals 50 feet or 1 inch equals 100 feet. Next waiver is, once again, regarding drafting standards, is section 177-91.C3 and 177-92.C3. Drafting standards do not require to show all existing features within 200 feet of the property on the plan. Section 177-47.H, it's the lots, to permit the lots to have, to permit lots 2 and 3 to have a length to width ratio greater than 2.5 to 1. And I point that out just because of the existing property, they're a little longer than they are wider, so. Waiver 8, section 177-51A, landscaping, to not require street trees because there's no space for them within the required, because of the required driveways and utilities in the front of the property. There is existing trees on the property that will be preserved. And then the final waiver pertains to section 177-39, cul-de-sac streets. And that says to not provide a cul-de-sac at the terminus of the existing Bellevue Avenue. So that would be the list of the waivers. And as you see, it's just a dead-end street. We don't have like a big circle on there.
Right. And as far as the conversation concerning the streets, Kurt, do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, there's a few different options for it, and we would recommend that any recommendations to council be conditioned on, basically developing and creating a viable option, whether it be a paper street that is turned into a public right-of-way, whether it be a paper street that's turned into a private right-of-way, or whether it be a paper street that's vacated and easements placed on top of it for effectively a shared driveway. Those are probably the three options that at least sitting here with the information we have, we think are viable ones. So prior to the plan being recorded, of course, it would all have to be vetted out. Township solicitor will review whatever documentation, be it deeds of dedication for the public right-of-way, street vacation, which would be something petitioned and placed before council, or creation of a private right-of-way or easements with the affected properties, those are all things that the lawyers would ensure are documented prior to plan recording.
Thank you, Kurt. Okay, commissioners, and Larry, is that the end of your presentation?
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
basically it, sure.
Commissioners, you've heard the presentation. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion to recommend to council preliminary and final subdivision approval for the New Horizon Property Management LLC, 1909 Veterans Highway, Bristol, for the property located at 914 Ave, Croydon, tax parcel 5-54-144 in an R3 residential zone district of Bristol Township. That you will be in compliance with the Gilmore letter dated November 29th, and that the waivers would be granted on the Eastern Chadro Associates letter dated December 20th. And this entire project would be contingent on agreement with the township in regards to the status and disposition of the section of Bellevue Ave that is currently a paper street.
Okay.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
It's been moved and second. Does anyone have any questions? Kurt? Sam? Any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's unanimous.
Okay.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Having nothing else on our agenda this evening, I would entertain a motion, prior to entertaining a motion. At this point, on behalf of the Bristol Township Planning Commission, we would like to offer a Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and a happy and healthy, prosperous New Year's to all of our residents. And thank you for tuning in and attending our meetings. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second?
You got a second?
Moved in second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's unanimous. Good evening. Meeting is adjourned.